Hey guys, it's me, I'm from The Rice Life, and as you can tell by the title, we're going to be talking about ways to cope with pregnancy loss. If you're unaware, I had an ectopic pregnancy this past June. Yeah, if you're interested in that video, then I'll put it like in a card up here. But that just elaborates more on the whole topic and lets you know exactly what happened in June. And so since then, these are some things that I've done to really just process things and heal, honestly. So I have 11 things written down. I don't want to make this video super long, but I have had people ask me, you know, how have I gotten over it? And not that I've gotten over it by any means, but how am I working through it? Even still, I'm working through it, guys. So I'm just going to tell you guys some things that I have done and that I continue to do in order to just heal. So here's number one. So my number one is don't rush healing. Pregnancy loss sucks. I mean, hello. And a lot of times we have people around us that feel like we should get over it, or feel like we're moping around too long, or that kind of thing, guys. And we all process things totally different. We all process things in our own time. And so we all process things in our own time. And so don't feel like you've got to hurry up and get over it to move on to the next phase of life. Don't feel like you got to hurry up and get over it to make other people happy. If you want to just sit in that moment and just be in that moment, then do that. There's nothing wrong with that. So I would say don't rush healing. Healing hurts, and that's just what it is. A lot of times I feel like if we're healing, then you know things are getting better, and there will be moments where you're going to be triggered and certain things are going to reopen those wounds, and that's okay. So be very comfortable with just sitting in the healing, and yeah, so don't rush healing, guys. That's number one. Number two, it's okay to have your moments. I know for me, I would have bouts of like sadness and that kind of thing, and I would like beat myself up about it, like, well, come on, like you're getting over it, you know, you're doing so well today. And just remembering that there will be times where you're gonna have those moments where you're just gonna be low and that's okay. It's okay to just have your moments. It's okay to be high one minute, on a high one minute, and then low the next. That's just a part of healing. That's a part of grief. And remember that you are grieving a loss. And so yeah, so like I said, don't feel like you can't have your moments. Don't feel like you're not allowed to have your moments. You're okay to, it's okay to just, like I said, sit in that hurt, to be honest. A lot of people are so, I said a lot of people, me included, most of us don't want to sit in hurt. We just want to go away, and that's not how life works. So when you have your moment, just embrace it and just sit in it, and just know that it's not going to last forever, and just really think about what you're learning in that moment. So yeah. Number three, y'all, my cat is in there meowing. Number three, unfollow triggering pages or people. To be honest, I haven't had to do that. I thought for sure that when I have an ectopic pregnancy that I would not be able to follow pregnant women, or you know, women trying to conceive or pregnant, or like I thought the pregnancy announcements would just tear me up, y'all. And to be honest, they haven't. I've been so excited for just new blessings for other people, you know. I thought, and I'm not, like, my heart doesn't sink the way I thought it would when I would see a pregnancy announcement. I thought for sure that it would just like trigger me, and it hasn't, and I'm shocked by that, to be honest, because yeah, those kind of things I thought would trigger me, and they didn't. But if you're the type that feels like every time you get on social media someone has a pregnancy announcement, or they've just given birth and it brings you sadness and you're not genuinely happy for them, then I say unfollow them, because that's not fair to you to constantly have yourself in a state of just perpetual grief and sadness when you don't have to follow that person. Yeah, I mean, that's just plainly put, guys. Just don't follow them. Turn your notifications off or whatever you got to do, but don't trigger yourself on purpose, if that makes sense, until you're at a place where you can follow those people again, until you're at a place where you know that you're comfortable with where you are in your life, you know. That's not fair to other people to just not be happy for them either, you know. So if you are the type that is triggered by people, simply unfollow them, guys. I'm telling you, it'll do your world of good, and that will also allow you to just process and heal in your own time, instead of feeling like you got to compare yourself to other people and that kind of thing. Like I said, personally, that doesn't trigger me, but I know it triggers a lot of women. So if you are the type that is triggered by other pregnant women or people that just given birth, then, or pregnancy announcements, then do yourself a favor and unfollow. All right, number four is don't be afraid to let people know when you're triggered. That was a big one for me. I shared my experience online pretty early, like the day after it happened, I'm pretty sure. And I think since I was so forthcoming with what happened to me, a lot of people didn't think that I was triggered by certain things, honestly. I think that's just the nature of being on social media. And I had a few people send me some links about pregnancy loss, like, you know, after I lost my, after I had my ectopic, then I had people send me articles and things and pages about other people's losses, and I was not ready to process that. I was still, you know, dealing with my own hurt. And so I simply told them, you know, I politely messaged them and said, hey, I'm still going through what I'm going through, and I was triggered. And the people were very apologetic. And a lot of times people think just because you share your experience that you're ready to process through other people's, and a lot of times they don't know what's going to trigger you, especially if you're forthcoming with the information that, you know, if you're forthcoming about what happened to you, then a lot of times they feel like, oh, I could just share this with her and she's okay, she's over it. And you never know what's going to trigger somebody. But like I said, if you are triggered, then let the person know. I simply just said, hey, you know, I'll be praying for that person, but just to let you know, like, I'm not in a place or in a space to have a conversation about this yet or to deal with this. And they completely understood that. So don't be afraid to voice, don't be afraid to voice how you're feeling to people. Number 5, this is a big one. Number 5 says, don't rush to replace. And that sounds horrible, but let me elaborate. So as soon as our topic happened, we had so many people saying, are you gonna try again? Are you having a baby? And I understand where people are coming from. Like, I'm human, like I get it. But I felt like people were like rushing us to, like, kind of rushing our healing almost, and saying like, oh, you know, you lost that baby, if you have another one, then it'll be okay, you know. And I would never want to have another baby simply to replace another baby or to feel like it would make up for a loss. That is a lot of pressure to put on a baby. That is a lot of pressure to put on a human being, to say, hey, I lost your sibling, so here you are now, you know. That's not how I view motherhood. That's not how I view pregnancy. That's not how I view new life. And so I would simply tell people, you know, in God's timing, or I would just say, hey, we're done, you know. But I would not, I've never been the type to say, okay, we lost that baby, so now let's try again. Not that I'm saying that shouldn't be your intention, but really be very purposeful about your parenting and your motherhood or fatherhood, and be very purposeful about the life that you're bringing into the world, and be very cognizant about saying, am I getting pregnant again to replace the baby that I lost, or to replace that feeling, to replace that emotion? Do I want to replace that grief with the newness of a new baby? And to me, that's not, like I said, this is my opinion, y'all, that is not fair to an unborn child. That's not fair to say, I lost this baby, so let me hurry up and have you so that I feel okay again. That's not okay. And that's why I say, don't rush your healing, and don't rush to replace. Replace sounds bad, but I can't think of another word. Don't rush to get pregnant again if you're not in a completely healed space. And so yeah, that's just how I felt. And I was very candid and very open with people about that. And I would say, I'm not here to replace the ectopic pregnancy loss, you know, that kind of thing. Like, I'm processing through this. We're processing through this as a family in our own time. And a lot of people were just very understanding. So I think that's the main thing, is just really advocating for yourself, number one, with people. But as you are able to process through your hurt and through your healing, then you're able to, it'll just be more healthy overall. And so I would say, don't rush to replace, and don't make people feel like you should hurry up and get pregnant again to just feel better, because people aren't doing that to be mean. They're just mainly, they don't want you to feel bad or sad anymore, you know. And I completely understand human nature, but really process through your hurt before you conceive again. That's all I gotta say about that. All right, the next thing, which was huge for me, I said, seek God in the lesson in the testing. A lot of times we feel like, oh, that's nothing but the devil, that's nothing but the devil. And to me, my ectopic pregnancy was not the devil. He cannot bring new life. And so I really had to hone in on what was God trying to teach me through this. He taught me a lot in the past few months. He's taught me a lot since June 26th. And so the big thing for me was, what is the lesson that God's teaching me? And I could elaborate on that all day, but I didn't feel like the ectopic pregnancy was of the devil and all that kind of stuff. Like, I didn't feel that way, guys. I really honed in on what God was trying to teach me about it, and that really helped me process things a lot better and heal. At number 7, don't feel like things are always happening to you instead of for you. That's a big thing. It's really easy to wallow and to say, oh, woe is me. And I did that, guys. That's human nature. When one bad thing happens, or something that you view as bad, when that happens, you feel like, oh, I can never get ahead. If you speak that into the atmosphere, if you speak that over your life, guys, that is what's going to always happen. You're going to always feel like you can't get ahead. And so when that happened to me, I was very intentional about not saying, oh, something else, something is always going on, something's always happening, because the more you speak that over your life, the more things are going to happen, you know, that just aren't good for you, if that makes sense. So I did not take that as saying like, oh my gosh, like, I just can't get ahead. I stopped that negative talk right there, guys. And I was like, Lord, what are you trying to show me? What are you trying to teach me? Because I don't want to feel like something that God gave, how do I explain it? I never want to view it as negative, because God allowed it to happen, but there's no telling. Even when I spoke about it to the surgeon, he was basically saying, you know, obviously it was abnormal because it implanted abnormally. And so when you think about it that way, you just think about what was God sparing us from, or what was he sparing that baby from, you know? And so when you kind of refocus and retrain your brain to think that way, then you won't have such negative self-talk, I think. So that's the main thing. Don't feel like things are always happening to you, because that will just start a downward spiral of depression, honestly. Number 8 is extend grace to yourself. No negative self-talk. And that kind of goes back to what we were saying, what I said a few minutes ago. Just remember, you'll have bad days, you'll have good days, you'll just have days, okay? God never told us that it's going to be easy. I mean, that's just what it is. And so I've had to be very intentional and purposeful about just extending grace to myself. I want to be super mom, I want to do it all, but I remember, like, I can't be it all, and I'm not God. And that's what he showed me in the past few months. There's my elbow. He showed me that I could not control things. And so I really had to learn to extend grace to myself and remember that I'm not God. Number 9 is write a gratitude list and thankful for what you have. That was big for me. I really had to sit down and write a gratitude list about, or just write a list about what I'm thankful for, what I already have. A lot of times when things happen, we feel like, you know, so many things are taken away from us, and we forget what we already have. And so I wrote down a gratitude list. I'm thankful for my husband, for God, my husband, my kids I already have, my strong foundation. Like, I'm really thankful for everything that I have. And so when you think about what was taken or what you don't have, replace that with the things that you do have, and you'll see the scale tipping a little more. And so when I sat down, I was like, I've got a lot to be thankful for. Like, thank you, Lord. And so guys, so I would say everybody sit down and write a gratitude list. Like I said, you'll see the scale tip a little bit in your favor. The next thing is to confide in trusted friends and family. Not everyone's going to understand what you're going through. Not everyone's just gonna get it. And so confide in people that you know are non-judgmental. Confide in people that you know you can trust, that you know you can just. I've had so many friends that I could just like call up and cry. I've had so many people that I could just say, hey, can you come over? Like, I'm not feeling it today. I've had people bring meals. I've had people that I can just cry on their shoulder. So really, really go ahead and hone in on your support system. That's gonna be really big. Yeah, just hone in on your support system, and just really confide in trusted friends and family through this, because we say it takes a village to raise a child, but it takes a village to get over grief, okay? At least for me it did. And so I'm very thankful for my support system. So yeah, don't forget the people that, it's really easy to shut people out at a time like this, but don't forget the people that are willing and ready to be there for you. Alrighty, and the last thing is remember that everyone won't understand your emotions. That was a big thing. Some people have experienced pregnancy loss, some people haven't. Some people get it, some people don't. Even if you have experienced pregnancy loss, sometimes you internalize it differently, you express it differently. Not everyone's going to understand you in that moment, and remember that's okay. This is a journey for you. This is a healing experience for you. It's not catered to anyone else but you. And so remember that, just remember not to take things too personally, even though it's so hard, I know, but try not to take things personally when it comes to people just interacting with you. Remember that everyone's not going to process things the way you do. Not everyone's going to understand your emotions, and that's completely normal. Just make sure that you're doing what you need to do for yourself. Be very selfish in this time. It was just, honestly, this is a very selfish time for me, and I don't regret it one bit. Like, I was able to really process things and intrinsically just understand a lot more, as opposed to having a lot of outside, you know, banter, a lot of back and forth. This was a very intrinsically healing experience for me. And like I said, I did include my support system, but for the most part, it was just me and God. And so I think that's the main thing too, guys. Just trust God, trust his timing, trust his plan, trust everything, even though it's so hard, but that's the ultimate surrender. I really had to surrender my control, my emotions, my pride, my desires. I mean, I had to surrender so many things this past few months. And when I realized that God just, y'all, he never fails, okay? He just honestly never failed me. And even though we don't have that pregnancy, I would have been due in February. So I don't even know how many weeks I would have been now, like 30 something weeks. I don't know, 30 weeks, 30 something, I don't know. But I'm not focused on it anymore. And that was, I didn't think it would come so fast. Like, I don't know. I thought I would just wallow so much longer, and I'm honestly shocked at myself. I'm shocked by how much I've been able to rebound and recover, and I think it's because of this list. I think it's because I was able to there's my L bill. I think it was because I was able to write that gratitude list and just really focus on everything that I already have, and focus on how good my God is, and focus on it's cliche, but everything happens for a reason. And so once I was able to do that, guys, then I think the healing, not that it came so fast, but I was able, when things would happen, I wouldn't just internalize them in such a negative way. I was able to really process them in a godly fashion, if that makes sense. So guys, I love y'all. I'm gonna go now. I've got kids coming in from outside and I've got Ellie screaming, so I need to see what's going on with my kids, okay? So if you have any questions, you can't leave them below, but I will do a community tab. Go to the community tab and you'll see this video posted, and you'll be able to respond that way. And just let me know your thoughts, your comments. Let me know how you've healed from pregnancy loss. And yeah, so I will see y'all in our next video. Bye, y'all.